Greetings from what's normally sunny Philippines, but today it's overcast Philippines. Um, Today I'm going to change up the conversation a little bit, and I want to talk a little bit about the family. Oh, no matter of fact, let's isolate it to one role. I want to talk about manhood, fatherhood, husbandhood. I guess if that's a word. So in the last couple of days, I've been talking to a good friend of mine back in the states, and we were talking about society ills, mostly in the black community, right? Our problems in the black community, and they always say that the problems in a community can always be traced back to the breakdown of the family, and that is extremely, extremely true. I mean, there are outside forces, racism, and the police state, that they got. Well, it's always been in the black community, but now white folks are starting to feel the police state, um, which is something that I believe it was Malcolm X warned white folks that if you allow the police, or maybe it was Huey Newton, I forgot which one it was. Um, some black leader had warned white people that if you allow the police to develop this culture of acting like an occupying force with black people, it will eventually become a culture that is a homogeneous culture across the board with all police departments, and eventually they'll start doing it to white people. And what we're looking at right now is that's exactly what's happening. So anyway, back on subject, um, they say that the problems in the community, we're talking about, the gang members and the the drug addicts, the drunks, even folks that prey on little girls, rapists and uh, um, womanizers and things like that. You can always draw that back to how somebody was raised or what their childhood was like. And even if it's something that they have in them that the parents failed to fix. And let me say this real quick about parents failing, because I am going to talk about failure. Often people will say, well, I didn't know, right? For example, if my kid has cancer, I can't cure that. But to, um, if I don't take my child to an expert that can cure it or can treat it, then yes, I have failed my child. And so when your when your children are dealing with some behavioral problem or psychological problem, emotional problem, right? The single moms often say, when a lot of times the kids you know, grow up, become fuck ups, and the mother will say, well, his father wasn't here to help me and I didn't know what to do. You can still fail a child if you don't enlist the assistance of people that can help. And what happens as parents is that we are often in denial about what our kids are going through. And so, if I had $1 for every woman who said, oh, my child doesn't even miss his father, you know, um, or my kids are fine. He's just lazy in school, and that's why he's making bad grades. And if you don't enlist the assistance, the expertise of those who can fix your child's problems, then yes, you have failed your child. Okay, so um, uh, in families, we have a duty to give our child to give our child a the environment that they can grow and reach their potential, that they can become healthy, strong, young, starting out as children, and then become young adults, strong, healthy, educated, prepared young adults ready for adulthood, and so, but we don't always do that. Very often we love our children, we don't raise them, and so anyway, um, rather than talk about the men and the women, I want to focus on the men, because manhood, true classic manhood, is lost in the modern world. And it's not just with black folks. It's terrible with us. right? We're at another level of failure. But in the West, manhood, matter of fact, even here in the Philippines, manhood is something that is something that has been lost for generations. And if you look at the history of uh, the male role in the family unit, right, for humans, it goes back to our primate ancestors, our what is the word I would use for that? Um, uh, at the dawn of uh, human civilization, there were certain traits that we carried over from our days as primates before we were, Homo sapiens. And there are certain things you can look at the ape kingdom, monkeys and gorillas and chimpanzees and stuff like that. You can look at them to see what makes us human. There are certain things about us that we have envy, that we become jealous, that we are possessive, that we are, um, what is the word? That we are um, that we are concerned with ourself, uh, that we protect our young, um, that our women, that the females choose the stronger males to mate with. I did a whole video on that. If you look on this channel, I have something about natural selection. Uh, it is in the nature of men to have certain qualities so that for the male, because we are responsible for the family unit. It's something called well, Donovan. Is it? Yeah, uh, it's a book. I've got it downstairs. I can't remember the name of the book. Way of Man, I think is the name of the book. The author's name is Donovan, and he talks about the three P's of manhood, which is procreate, protect, and provide. And I would add a fourth P, which is preside, preside. That the man has four primary roles, and like I said, it goes back to the ape kingdom, the animal kingdom, where the male of the species, the male of the what would they call a pack of chimpanzees, um, of the group of the social group. He is responsible for protecting the female and the young. He is responsible. Matter of fact, the protection is something. It's a social activity, meaning that if you have a community of chimpanzees or a community of men, every male, every mature male adult in the group is responsible for protection of the whole community. So that means all the husbands, all the fathers, all the grown sons, married or not, made paired or not, um, are responsible for protection. And so, and they band together. Even chimpanzees form raiding parties. Where they go into other chimpanzee communities and take their resources or take their women. And when males from one community attack another community, the males of that community bond together and they put up a resistance. And I'll matter of fact, I'll probably have to do separate videos for this, but I just want to give an overview right now. So they're responsible for protecting the woman, to give her the environment that she can raise her children to become strong adults. Um, he must be a provider. He has to. He's the one that needs to go out and go hunting. He's the one that needs to give the woman everything she needs to be able to raise those children, their food, their shelter, uh, Um, even take the matter of fact, that's preside, so we'll cover that later. But basically, we are a provider. We have to be a provider. Um, procreate, of course, we have to mate with the woman and make children. But part of procreate also is to have the qualities in us that the female wants to pass down to her children. If I have birth defects, the chances of me finding a woman who's going to want to have children with me is very low. Now, it's not to say that guys with birth defects can't find women or shouldn't find women, but and it's not that the women can't find us attractive either, but it's just that what got us to where we are today is that women or the females found the qualities in men. If you were a weak man, women were going to be less interested in you. And today we think in terms of attraction, right? Because as things become modern, I think we become more superficial. If I am an undesirable male, not necessarily unattractive, but a undesirable male, um, I can do superficial things, dress up, wear jewelry, get a good job, drive a nice car that will attract women, right? I knew brothers back in California that didn't even work. Motherfuckers was nasty, they poor hygiene and stuff like that. But they fit this image that the women like. They like that thug ex-con image. And these motherfuckers actually got more pussy than regular dudes, you know what I'm saying? The guys on top of their game. And so in the modern day, um, women don't look at the core values of a man and become attracted to those things. So they become attracted to things like I said, dress, the way we dress, the way that we walk and talk and maybe some guys work out and get nice bodies, whatever. And these are the things that women focus on that they want, and which is, matter of fact, it's one of the reasons why the breakdown in the black community is occurring. So we'll come back to that. So bottom line is, it's up to us to procreate. Um, and then, of course, we have to, I said provide, I said protect. Oh, we have to preside. The male is, I'm not going to get into y'all feminists and shit like that. Um, uh, whenever I talk to feminists, oh, yeah, whenever I talk to feminists about the role of men, what they're usually looking for, there's an anger coming from feminists about men, and it of course keeps them single. And when they describe the kind of man that they want, they're usually describing an undesirable beta male. And what feminists really want is a guy who looks like an alpha who acts like a beta. And and I could do a whole video on that too. So, um, but uh, but it is ultimately up to the male to be responsible for the direction of the family, for the condition of the family. If the family is going hungry and there's a man in the house, people always wonder, what the fuck is the man doing, right? Um, if if the children get hurt, if the children are hurt somehow, or um, are not doing well in school, um, it is the man who is ultimately responsible for it. Yes, the women take care of the children, but that man, it's his duty to handle all the business in the family. And so that man has to be wise. He has to, he doesn't necessarily have to be educated. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, I just saw this not too long ago, somewhere in social media. Um, One of my fraternity brothers had asked, why is it that women have their shit together always single, or damn near always single? And probably 80% of the comments were, well, the men don't have their shit together. They don't have jobs, stuff like that. What the fuck men are you looking at? What the women are really admitting to is that the women that they are interested don't have their shit together. because there's plenty of brothers that have their shit together. Um, and one thing, I mean, shit together, having your shit together isn't always a job. I mean, well, of course it's a job. It isn't always just work. It's not always just how much money you got in the bank or what do you own. There's more to having your shit together besides that. But of course, that's another subject. That's another conversation. But yes, the man has to have wisdom in order to lead the family to success, right? And um, and of course, we try to deny it. We try to say, well, it's both the male and the female. Yes, it is both the male and the female, but somebody has to be answerable to the community. And whether you like it or not, it is the man. When things go wrong, they will say, what the hell is wrong with the man? Okay, women like to try and say that men are not needed, that men are not vital, men are not necessary, they're not important. You know what I mean? And matter of fact, just by declaring that, you're telling me that you don't know shit about life. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so the four P's: protect, provide, um, procreate, and preside. Those are four areas that in the black community, we have lost at least three of them. We're not very good at providing for our women. We're not very good. We actually suck at protecting our women. We suck at presiding over our women or our families. Really, the only thing a motherfucker does is procreate, and we don't even do that well. Let me throw this out at you. In days of old, before modern, what we call modern times, men valued having a lot of children. If you have a lot of children, by the time, for example, by the time my mom was 40 years old, she had two grown kids, both college educated kids, professional. There was one in college. That was my sister. And she could retire at 42 with the money that she had. And if anything happened, and it did, because when she was building her house, um, she relied on us to help supplement her income. The more kids you have, the earlier you could retire if you raise those kids right. What happens is many of us look at having children in terms of having mouths to feed, and that is a very self-centered, selfish, short-term way of looking at the world. Having a lot of kids, well, first of all, uh, when we are building families, essentially we are building our legacy. And communities grow by having bigger populations. If we want to go all the way back to the animal kingdom, animal kingdom, sorry. We want to go back to ancient times. If I have a community of say 20 families, um, which would mean there were basically 20 men, that is my militia for that community. It's 20 men. If a bigger community wanted to come in and our um, take our resources, and they had say 40 men, we would probably lose 20 against 40. So it was advantageous to have a lot of children. If each man had 5 kids, well, in 15, 20 years, you now have 120 men. You see what I'm saying? The more you grow, the stronger you are. And I'm just looking at it from one angle, which is um, protection. But matter of fact, my auntie Christine, who's now deceased, rest in peace. Auntie Christine had, I believe it was 8 kids. Um, I'm not going to run through the names right now, but I believe it was 8 kids. And about 20 years ago, the kids are my age, by the way. The youngest one, Bea, I think Bea might be 35. The youngest one, I'm not the youngest one. Um, uh, of the 8 kids, they purchased a big plot of land. And I think the father purchased the land, but the kids built on it. And so one day I'll try to go over there and record a video. But there are today, and this is probably 30 years, no, it was more than that, 40 years after the land was purchased. There are about 25 to 30 homes on the property. There are businesses on the property. Um, they have a store, they have storage units, they have 3 piggeries. There's an ice cream uh, cart that's owned by a distant relative that services that compound. And of course, he does go through the neighborhood, but majority of his money is made on the compound because there are about 40 kids, at least 40 to 50 kids there. One of the things my cousin had said when I hadn't seen him since I was a baby, and when we reconnected after I moved here, one of the first things he told me about that place, he said that uh, his parents would be happy. Oh no, I'm sorry, his father's still alive. His mother would be happy because um, not one member, not one member of that branch of the family will ever go hungry. And he pointed out certain relatives. This one's out of work. That one's out of work. This one works constructions, waiting. Because I arrived during rainy season. He's waiting for rainy season to end. He said, but his family is never going to go hungry because there's enough of us that, they're constantly going back and forth. Food is going back and forth between the households. And that is a great example of the core of masculinity, that the men maintain a community. And so going back to the black community, it is something that we have failed to do. Now, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, when we were living under segregation in America, the black folks did create a community. But the one thing we failed to do at that time was to protect our communities. And and that is the reason why black folks ended up to where we are today. That we had the right mindset at that time. The Black Wall Streets and the what are those communities called? Uh, well, basically urban ghettos. The ghetto doesn't mean poor and stuff like that. Ghetto means a collection of people in the same ethnic group, like a ethnic community. And we actually accomplished more in 1950 than we accomplished today. And modernity, comfort, technology, those things rob us of our manhood. We no longer feel it's important to know how to fight to protect our communities. We believe we'll just call 911, right? I recently saw something on the net about a guy whose daughter was raped, and he hunted down the rapist before trial and killed all 3 of them. They didn't. Most men would not have done that, but men 100 years ago would have done that. We protect our family at all costs. Now, the guy's sitting in a jail cell, but he's sitting there knowing that the people that hurt his daughter are gone. They're off the planet. And if more of us felt that way, if more of us, you know, cared more about our families than we care about fitting into society, um, uh, we would have stronger communities. If we took charge in each of the 4 roles, and I'm gonna have to do another, maybe a series of videos on the roles, but if we take charge by providing for our families, making sure that my wife, my woman, never has to worry about uh, whether or not she's going to have enough to feed the kids. You know, my kids, if they're struggling in school, will have the tutoring, will have the interest of their father in their education to supplement with workshops and camps and tutors and things like that. Um, uh, One of the things that men should be doing is connecting with other men. You know, there are that somebody, I don't remember who it was, who had was giving a lecture. It could have been Miles Monroe. He said, "You look at your circle of brothers that you hang with. Why are you friends?" And that's a good question. Why are you friends with these guys? We like football. We live close to each other. We used to work together. And when we look at the why, it tells us our level of manhood. Who am I connecting with that can help me build and stay strong? One of the things that I've always done, I've never befriended guys that were deadbeat dads. If a guy did not take care of his kids, I gave him hell about it, and I damn sure would not count him as one of my friends. I have zero respect for a guy that does not take care of his children. But yet, there are guys out here who are friends with cheaters. They're friends with weed heads, motherfuckers, and ain't worked in their life. Friends with kleptomaniacs. Um, Dudes who like little girls and shit like that. And I can't have nobody in my circle that I can't roll with like that. And my circle is very small, but all my male friends, all of my good male friends are strong, strong men. And not not all of them are black, but they're all strong men. And you choose your men, you choose your friends based on their ability to make you better, right? If I'm a professional boxer, I'm not going to hang out with lousy boxers. I'm going to hang out with other professional boxers who are just as strong as me, because when we work out together, when we train together, when we exchange ideas, they make me sharper. And that's how men should be choosing other men to hang with. We choose Real men choose guys that have qualities that we admire, qualities that we have in ourselves or that we would like to have in ourselves, that we admire, people that we respect. You know, there are basically, let's say, four qualities that men should be looking for in other men, right? Strength. I need, and coming from Washington, D.C., this is something I used to talk about. I can't have a motherfucker in my circle that if I get jumped, this nigga runs. You know what I'm saying? Just like you wouldn't play, uh, 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 4-on-4 or 2-on-2 with another dude that can't play basketball. You're going to choose somebody who's just as strong as you or stronger to roll with. I need to know that this person can be a comrade at arms when we're out there dealing with this white man, dealing with this enemy, dealing with the world. I can't hang with weak motherfuckers. And that is one thing we have to know. I have to know that the person that I'm rolling with has my back. And that's that. The second thing is I need someone who's competent. Men hang with other men who are competent. If if I'm doing some work at the house and I need assistance, can I call on my brothers? Can I call on my friends to come help me do this? If, let's say, my woman wants me to build, I don't know, like my mom. My mom wants us to build uh, a house for the kambing. For the kambing is goat. Build a structure for the goats because we're about to take on maybe 5 more goats, and she wants to keep these uh, just for milking. We're gonna milk these goats. So that's what we've been doing for the last 2 weeks. Not last 2 weeks. That's what we've been building for the last week. Is building the house for the goats. I need to know that the guys I'm rolling with can come help me do this. If not willing, at least willing to help to work with me and learn how to do this. And we need people who are competent. We need, um, guys. If I'm working on my car, somebody who also knows how to work on cars. Two heads are better than one. We can figure this problem out. That is a strong, healthy relationship. Um, the next thing is we need someone with honor. I need to know that this person is doing the right thing. If I'm letting this guy around my family, I need to know that if I'm not around, that he will protect my family as if he was protecting his own. I need a guy that my kids can call uncle. You see what I'm saying? That if if I was away, that my woman can call my friend and ask him to help her with something, and she doesn't have to worry that he's gonna be trying to hit on her, or that he's not gonna be willing to help her. You know what I mean? That he's gonna take care of her as he would his own sister. Um, excuse me. And then we need men. We need to associate ourselves with men who are, well, that I guess I would be covered in uh, under honor, but I would say men of principle, men who have a mission, who are going somewhere, right? Uh, if I'm an aspiring businessman, uh, I will gain more from a friendship if the men in my circle are also business minded. Now, they don't have to be businessmen like me. They don't have to have the exact same goal I have, but they should have. Um, well, I guess that would be competence. Yeah, I guess you can put that under competence. So maybe it's just three. So, um, I'm doing this without a script. So, uh, but basically, I need guys whose ideas can make mine sharper. They are. Oh, let's give it the fourth. They compete with me. They are of the caliber of men who will demand more from me. They demand the best from me. They're not going to allow me to be weak. They're going to challenge me. They're going to compete with me so that we both come out better. You know, um, uh, too often guys uh, are complacent and they hang with other men who are complacent. If one of them, for example, decides that he wants better for himself, often either two things will happen. Either his friends will become inspired to want more for themselves, or his friends will become envious. And they rarely will say, I'm envious because that guy is doing better. What they usually say something is like, oh, he thinks he's better than us now. You got that good job. You know what I mean? And if you choose your friends based on the four areas that I just made up just now, if you choose your friends based on that, then that makes you better as a man. It makes you better as a male. It makes you stronger. And anyway, I don't want this video to get too long. Good God, it's already 30 minutes. I just ramble. So anyway, I'm gonna make follow-up videos to this so we can talk about this breakdown that's occurring in our community. Because ultimately, like I said, ultimately, I believe that the problems in the black community don't come from that white man. That we stop saying that. That gives him too much power. What you're saying is our enemy is so powerful, there's nothing we can do to stop him. Okay? So we're not gonna discuss that. I'm not gonna entertain that bullshit. Um, that the problem in the black community is that the man is not stepping up and being the man. And I'm going to make a strong case. I'm going to make a strong case about why that is in these next couple of videos. So we're going to take a break from this alchemist thing and talk about manhood. Okay? All right, you guys. Yeah, I'll probably record this afternoon if it doesn't get too hot. It's already starting to beat me up. All right, peace.